And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson. 100%. And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
All right, we are back. It is the Weighing In podcast with the real punk, my man Josh Thompson, and me here to talk about all of the things that are happening.
Crowd goes wild
in the sports. I don't think the crowd's going wild, really. But
always goes
there's
wild.
a lot going on with a lot of discussion about judging in MMA. Oh, my God. Amazing. The differences of opinions. It's awesome. Gotta love it. What are you doing, though, man? How you feeling? You shut the gym down. You feeling all right now? Everything good?
Well, it's not fully shut down. We have until next Wednesday, the 1st. So I'm still teaching classes, still dealing with it right now, but we've got another couple days. I'm going to start moving everything out by Sunday. I only got to move one side of the gym, like the jiu-jitsu mats off the wall, jiu-jitsu mats on the ground, but I got to move the studio as well. I got to clean out some little odds and ends stuff. But realistically, it just comes down to where the hell am I going to put all this shit? I can put it in my garage So I'm cleaning out the garage right now this week, spending that time doing that. You know, you got all these other things going on. So it's been a little bit of a process. I mean, a lot of the families too, they're like, you know what, this is kind of perfect timing. June 1st, kids get out of school, May 28th to June 3rd. So then they're going to go on vacation for a week or two. They come back, get ready to roll right into training. So it'll kind of work out. I think everything will be good. So the new location should be opening probably sometime around June 20th to June 25th. It's a big location. We'll have more about that as it all happens coming up and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm going to be more of a partner in it versus being someone that is every day in the grind. John, you know the deal. And you own a gym. You know, the daily grind is just, it's horrible.
It sucks.
I mean, you love it because there's so many people that you just have learned to connect with, and that's the hard part of letting go of.
Yes, it is.
Of all the youth, the kids that you've worked with, the adults that are your friends now. I mean, I've got a lot of friends that I've built through this gym, so it's hard to let it go. But I also know for a better business opportunity, this was a big deal, and it's already opened up some other opportunities. Also too. That I'll be working on. So there's going to be a lot more room for advancement in terms of financially. So that's what we're looking for. Work smarter, not harder kind of situation is where we're at right now. So I never thought the words work smarter for me would ever come out of my mouth.
It is impressive.
So, well, John, you've been around me long enough now. We've been doing the show for a while, and I never stop, man. Like I'm always I'm always like, hey, I'm always talking about sponsors. I'm always working on something. I'm always trying to figure out something. So I don't stop, man. I got to keep moving, keep going. So that's the way I am. Figure it out.
Look, if we were young and you were starting off in your profession of being a fighter at the time, I would never have called you the punk. I would have called you the angler. Everyone would have thought you were a fisherman, but you're always looking for that angle.
Oh, I am.
You're the angler,
I'm
man.
always trying to figure it out, man.
That's awesome.
Like it's about it's not just like, I know people say like it's not about what you know, it's who you know. A little bit of that is true, but a lot of it has to do with like the relationships you build, like just people you connect with. And look, I don't connect with a lot of people.
No, but it's also what you do with those relationships, because it's not you always getting something out of them. You got to put into them. You got to give a lot of the time, and that's just the way it is.
There's a lot of these relationships that I've had over the years. It just wasn't the right time. There was relationships that, like I said, with this new location that I'm working with or that I'm involved in. It's a relationship that happened 12 years ago. Yeah. It's just now coming to fruition now, just getting it all done. And then that's not even it. There's going to be multiple, locations that we're already kind of talking about and working on. So there's just a lot of things. It's been years building up, and eventually it's going to happen. And just things take time, like I remember when I opened up my gym, I was like, I'm going to have like 2 or 3 within like the first 2 years. Fuck, I only had 1. I extended it to 2, and I was like, man, I'm done. This is way too much more. This is too much. There's certain months you make a lot of money. What I mean by a lot of money is there's times where I was only making $12,000-$15,000 a month, and I was like, that was good money for me at the time. When you're talking about just owning a gym and nothing else, no fight money coming in. But then,
there's also those times when you're losing $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 a month, and it's coming out of your pocket to make sure that everyone gets paid except for you.
Yep. I mean, I have a manager here, man. He makes more money than me because I pay him enough. Like right now, we're just getting back from the COVID situation, and so especially in California. I mean, they didn't lift the mask mandates here in Santa Clara County until the week before we went to Paris. So 3 weeks ago, a month ago. You know what I mean? I'm like, everyone was still wearing masks around here because they didn't lift them yet. So it was hard for people to come in and be like, yeah, I'm going to train jiu-jitsu with the mask on. Ooh, sounds exciting. Like,
let's wear a face diaper.
You know? Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm trying to like suck in air after not training for 2 years. Imagine that, being fat and out of shape, not training at all for 2 years, and come back in wearing a mask. You're like, yeah, fuck this.
That ain't happening.
That's what you're thinking to yourself. All right, well, hey, let's. Hey, if you guys have not been to, you guys should check out our weightinpodcast.com. Check out all of our merch. We've got short sleeve, long sleeves. We've got some coffee mugs. We've got hoodies. I'm gonna call them
sweatshirts.
hoodies. We got sweatshirts. There you go,
There
John.
you go,
I like
baby.
that. Sweatshirts. We've got all sorts of stuff available there. So check it all out with our old logo, our new logo, our OG logo. We've got some fun ones as well. We've got the Terminator logo, Karate Kid, and Home Improvement. You got Podcast Dave hanging over the fence like Wilson from Home Improvement. It's a fun little shirt, but it's fun. John's got really small hands in that, but in reality, he doesn't really have small hands. I've got small hands. It's ridiculous.
There you go.
But the rest of it is available up there. Check it all out at weightinpodcast.com. All right, John, there's a lot to talk about. But first, I want to talk about Puchinowski, the former world's strongest man.
Oh, dude,
he's fighting my boy, man. He's fighting my boy, Michael Materla. I'm a Michael fan, man. He showed me how to make the sweep. He showed me how to make the pass. He showed me how to make the sweep.
I show you something else.
Yes. He's a stud, dude. He's a stud. I know he's never had the opportunity to fight any of the biggest shows, but I mean, this is a big show for him. He's from Poland.
It's huge.
This is a big show over there.
And look, KSW does big numbers in Poland. They sell out big arenas. So if you are the main event of one of their big shows, and look, Puchinowski is one of their stars, this is as big as it will get for him. And you can fight anywhere. There's going to be 25 to 30,000 people in that arena.
Jeez.
That's a lot. Okay.
That's
it could be more, but they do big numbers. So, they've done up over 50,000. So they do big numbers.
Well, I ran into him in London. He was out there for one of his guys that was fighting on the card. Yeah. So I was out there with him. I was out there and I ran into him, and I hadn't seen him in probably 2, maybe 3 years. Yep. Man, maybe longer now. However long I've been retired, I think he was there kind of for my last camp when I was getting ready for Patricky. He came through, and I hadn't seen him in a while. And so he's such a great guy. He's so funny. He's one of those guys that when he first came, he reminded me a lot of Trevor Prangley. They've got these funny little snide comments. They like to chime in, but they're always laughing and joking. They don't seem like the laughing, joking type when you first meet them. But as you get to know them, fuck, man, they don't shut up, and they've got some good digs. I love guys that can dig back at me. Yeah. I love it. John, that's how we became friends. John will give you the digs, man. I love it. I love how we just get after each other.
But you got to be able to dish it out, but you got to be able to take it too. Don't get all sensitive on me. If you're gonna be throwing barbs, be able to accept.
Don't be a podcast Dave. Don't be a millennial. Yeah, we get it. We understand. Right. He just doesn't know how to handle it. He just takes it. So he's like, cut me deep, Shrek. Cut me real deep.
You're killing me, Smalls.
But this is a tough task. This is a tough task for him. Not in terms of technique. I think Materla is definitely the better fighter, the better technician. But the size and the strength will be an issue, obviously. But I also think
for a short time,
Puchinowski's also got better at some technique.
Oh, his technique's gotten way better.
He doesn't just use his strength to muscle you around. Don't get me wrong, he still does because it's available to him. But he's gotten good. He's gotten good in terms of, and he's got some nasty ground and pound. He should with all that weight behind it and the strength. But you don't want, you don't want to get stuck underneath him.
No, you can't.
But Materla's got some good sweeps. He's got some good attacks.
He is not sweeping Puchinowski now.
No, but he will jump on the legs.
Not now.
But he will jump on the ankle locks.
Sure, he will.
I will tell you that. He will jump on the ankle locks. He's good at getting to that X-guard position. He's good at hitting them ankle locks and heel hooks. I've trained with him a bunch of times, spent years training with him before, obviously from years probably back in 2010, 2008, 2010, 2012, somewhere around there. So he's been around for a while at AK. He's strolled in a couple times.
This has got to be close to his 40th fight. Professional
He's strong
fight.
as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
He's strong, too. He's got that Polish power they always talk about.
Dude. There's something in the water there, man. I'm telling you.
There is, yeah. Yeah.
He's beaten some good. He's beaten some, big names. You know, remember when Paul Harris was just brutalizing people, but doing stupid things and getting kicked out of places and stuff like that? He lit Paul Harris up. I don't know if you remember that fight.
No,
knocked him out. I mean, just lit him up fast. He's got power in his hands. He is a stud.
Yeah.
So Dave's putting it up. Let's see where.
Why did he never come over? How come no one ever picked him up?
I can't tell you that, man. I really don't know. You know, it's.
But look at this. Is that the James Thompson?
Here, he's showing Pujanowski's record. I was
like, what?
I don't want to see Pujanowski's record.
I want to see Michael.
I want to see Materla's. There you go, baby. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've trained with him for years.
Yeah.
He's a sponge. He wants to learn as much as he can, like in the training room. He's a stud. I just was wondering why he never got picked up by somebody.
Right there. Who's Amar Paul Harris back in 2016? KO punch. Yep, second round. Lit him up.
Tiago too.
He's got a lot of names on there. You know, he lost to Kaladov, which at the time, you know, that was when Kaladov was on fire and really good. But you know, Jay Silva, he's beat a lot of people there.
Lost to Jay
Kendall
and then beat
Grove,
Jay in the
Rodney
decision.
Wallace.
Kendall Grove.
He's had 3 fights against Jay Silva. Jesus Christ, that's crazy.
Matt Horwich.
Okay.
Jeez, I haven't heard that fucking name in forever.
Right there is the guy that you want to sit there and say, okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Matt Horowitz.
you know.
Oh my God, what?
Cheers.
One of the sweetest, nicest human beings there is on the planet, but he never takes a shower.
Never shower. Never.
It's bad. It is bad.
John, I kid you not. When Trevor Prangley fought Matt Horwich up in Oregon, Trevor's like, I got in there. He's like, he fucking stunk. And not only did he stink, he's like, it kind of started to make me either want to throw up or take a shit. He's like, I couldn't figure it out. And if you go back, if you're able to find that fight, funny. He literally fucking Trevor gets his hand raised and he walks right over to the corner after. He's like, get me out of the fucking ring. He's like, I gotta take a shit. I gotta take a shit or I gotta throw up. But he fucking ran straight to the fucking. He ran right back to the locker room and had to take a shit.
Okay.
He's like, it was making me gag, and I'm like, and I was feeling so sick in the fight, and I was like, oh man.
You remember Vernon Tiger White?
Yes.
Vernon White actually tapped out due to stink. He was under.
Shut up!
I swear to God, go ahead and take a look at the record. I'm telling you, if you pull up Matt Horowitz, or okay, you can do Vernon White either way. But if you pull it up, you're gonna see that he loses to Matt Horowitz, and it was based upon he could not take the smell anymore. He lost.
Oh, it says rear naked smoke.
Yeah, he gave it to him. He fucking turned and just tapped out. Done.
Oh, jeez.
And he goes, I couldn't take it anymore. The smell was killing me.
Oh, my gosh. And Matt is so nice.
He's the nicest guy
He's
ever.
So nice. Yeah, he's a little out there, but
he's
a nice guy. He's a really nice guy.
He talks about all the plans.
Oh, fuck. He would walk out to the fights like playing Bible music and holding the Bible in his hand. He was living. I don't know if you remember. There was what was it called? Legends Gym in Hollywood, California. That was Eddie Bravo's. Wasn't it?
Boss Rutan and Randy Couture put their name on it. Eddie took his 10th Planet from the Bomb Squad gym and moved it up to that one. And that's where it really started to kind of grow. And then the gym, it moved from, because it was right at the corner of Hollywood and Highland, I think. I want to say it was maybe not Highland, maybe it was Hollywood and what the hell's the street down the way? I can't remember. But anyways, it moved, and it moved down to Santa Monica Boulevard in Hollywood, and he was living in the top section of it with his girl and stuff. And I was like,
oh my God,
that is not good. That is not a good
Didn't
scene
she,
right
like,
there.
Here's the thing. I had a buddy, too, and most of you guys may know him if you guys are old school, is Rich Crunkleton. That motherfucker wouldn't shower either. He wouldn't shower either. And I want to know this. At the time, he had a smoking hot Russian wife. Because he spoke Russian. I don't know if people know that, but Rich Crunkleton spoke Russian.
I didn't know that about him.
Yeah, that's how they met. His buddy was Russian. He learned how to speak Russian so he could talk to his buddy. That was his buddy's cousin or something like that. So then he started dating her, and then they got married, and I think they have 2 kids together. Or they did, they do have 2 kids together. I don't think they're together anymore, but still, like, but I was like, how the fuck does she? Because he moved out of my place, started living with Bob Cook after I went and got my own place separate from everyone. And Bob's like, I don't know how your fucking wife sleeps next to you. You stink. He's one of those guys.
Hold on. You were with Matt Mitrione on the freaking Fight Companion. What he was talking about, he doesn't use deodorant. His wife likes his funk. I'm like, okay, there you go, baby.
I guess. But look, not using deodorant is different than taking a shower.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you can kind of wash it all out a little bit and be refreshed for a couple hours until the sun starts beating down on you.
Oh, dude. Once you start sweating, it's over.
Yeah.
The funk is coming.
Gosh, man.
Yeah, that's bad.
There's so many stories, man. John,
horrible.
The Rich Congleton one is legit. I mean, that guy was weird though. Like he lived with me for a couple of years. He would take a shit with the door open. And as you would walk past, as you wouldn't walk past, he would go, hey, Josh. He didn't realize what he was doing. He'd be like, hey, or he'd call Bob, or he'd call me. And who else lived with us? Pat Minahan lived with us for a while. He'd be like, hey, Pat, hey, Josh, come over here. I got to show you something. And we're like, what? And he's like, no, come here. I got to show you. He'd be sitting on the toilet. And as soon as we walk in, he'd have like the wadded up toilet paper with his shit on him. Hey, take a look. It's green. It's green. Like he was so weird, man, but he was so funny. That guy never stopped. Never stopped. He was always fucking around, always. He was a hustler, though. When you call people hustler, when I say people are hustlers, that dude never stopped hustling. He would train in the morning. After he'd get done training, he would go to all the garage sales, like in the Bay Area, the ones he could go buy. He'd buy whatever for dirt cheap, and then he'd put it up on eBay, and he'd sell it. That's how he made money to get through his fight camps.
Oh my God,
he was a dog, man. He was making a killing. He was making probably $6,000 to $10,000 a month off garage sale purchases from, and he would just ship it to them. It would be like this little small stuff people would buy online. He's like, oh yeah, authentic this. Guess what he does now? He owns pawn shops in Florida. He's a hustler. That guy's a dog, and he's a hustler. Yeah, pawn shop. He's got I want to say he's got 3 or 4 pawn shops in Miami.
All right, I'm gonna give you the ultimate turd story. This is Matt Hughes. Okay.
Oh no.
This is Pride.
Oh no.
Okay, because in Pride, think about when you fought in Pride. The hotel rooms were really nice, but they're really what? Small. Super small, right? And then the bathrooms themselves are even smaller than that. I mean, it's crazy small.
You got to step up into them.
Yes, right?
You have to step up, yeah.
So Jeremy Horn is actually fighting in Pride. Matt is there to help corner him, and his manager, Monty Cox, is there also, and Monty's there to, negotiate more deals for other people and stuff. Well, they're just about ready to go, and Matt tells Monty, they're standing in the hallway. Matt says, hey, let me use your room real quick. I got to go to the bathroom, and Jeremy's in ours real quick. And Monty goes, no, man, I don't want you. He says, God damn it, Monty. He says, give me your fucking key, right? All right. And he gives him the key, right? And Jeremy comes out, and fucking him and Monty kind of go down the hall. And Matt, being who he is, he goes into the thing and I guess takes a hellacious dump. And then he was so proud of it, decides, I'm not going to fucking flush that. I'm going to leave that for Monty, right? So he does. He leaves it, right? They go to the show, right? Go to Jeremy fights, does the whole thing. Well, Monty has to stay back, and Matt never gave him the key, right? He's got to stay back to do negotiations with Motoco and different people in Pride. And so Matt comes back and goes, dude, I'm going to go crown that son bitch. He goes in there and he double craps on that thing again, right? And leaves. By the time Monty will tell you, he goes, look, it was at least 12 hours by the time I first left that room. By the time I got back, he goes, as I was coming into the hallway, I just had this feeling. I smelled this thing. I was like, there's something wrong here. And he goes, I just opened the door and knew that motherfucker Matt Hughes has screwed me. So Matt, he goes and he looks, he goes, John, it's above the rim. You can see it. It's above the rim, right? He goes, I get out of my room. I go down to the hotel lobby, and I go to the counter. I say, I need a new room. They go, we're sold out. You can't. No, I need a new room, right? No, he says, you've got to come with me. And they come up. The one guy comes up. He goes like this. He says, all of a sudden there was this army of these little guys. They look like they're in biohazard suits, all with stuff running in there to take care of it. Matt Hughes destroyed the room.
That's hilarious, man. It's so funny. I didn't really start hanging out with Matt until Hawaii when at the UFC grand opening for BJ's gym.
Yeah.
And we hit it off
He's
right away,
hysterical.
man. Like, I think when I was in the UFC the first time and he was there and there was potential of like Jens Pulver and I fighting, I think there was a little bit of that like, I don't like you. Yeah. But then as things went on and like, and I ran into him when I got back with the UFC in 2012 or whatever it was. And BJ and him became good friends after their fights and stuff. We had some fun, man.
Oh,
he's an absolute stud, just a great guy.
Great guy.
Fucking one. I still think to this day he's the strongest guy.
Unbelievably strong.
I was like, holy shit. He got them leather hands like Dan Henderson.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got them like just like you grab them, you're like, and they're not as bad as Dan's. Like Dan's is like leather. They're like
no.
It feels like
Dan's
you're grabbing rock.
Dan's are sandpaper.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's a good way of saying it. It's definitely a good way.
Yeah.
Funny story in Japan too with James Thompson. I just met him. I met him in the lobby at the hotels. We're checking in for our fights, and I get in the elevator, and this fucking guy tries to get in the elevator. I'm like, dude, you're not gonna fit. Everyone knows the elevators in Japan, right? They're like maybe can fit 2 people, but Japanese people, not like James Thompson people, right? Like they're not fitting that. They're not fitting him in there and me. So I was like, hey, he's like, yeah, we can fit. I'm literally like squished up against the thing. Anyways, he's in the same floor as me. And he's walking ahead of me because he got out first because I was in the back of the I'm in the back of the elevator,
you got
against the wall,
crushed to the back.
Yeah, and so he gets out and I'm trying to grab my bag and I'm getting out and then I see him go into his room and I hear the door open and he's ahead of me by like 2 rooms or whatever. He's like, I can't fucking sleep in that bed. I can't fucking sleep. And he's like, hey, he doesn't even like really know who I am. He just says, hey, Josh. He knew my name was Josh. Hey, Josh, check this out. He lays down, I kid you not, at the knees. His fucking legs are hanging off the end of the bed. He's like, and his shoulders are touching the wall and like half his shoulders off the bed on the other side.
That's because the beds, people do not realize you can't even put your damn luggage on the floor or because you can't fit it in there at places if they have the 2 beds and stuff. You're like, there's no room.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Crazy.
He laid down on the bed, and I kid you not, his knees bent, and they were hanging off the edge. He's like, I can't sleep. And he's like, check this out. Look at this. And I was like, I barely know you, but I thought it was fucking hilarious, though. He was laying down. His shoulder was hitting the wall. His other shoulder was half off the wall because their beds there are not beds. They're like in a box. Yeah. So it's like a box built around it, and the mattress goes inside. Yep. So his shoulder was literally on the edge of the box, and he's like,
"This sucks."
They had I don't even know if they ever got another room. So I was just, but it was hilarious at the time. All right, well, hey, we've spent enough time just shooting the shit, talking about some old stories, so we call that story time.
All good time.
So
story time is now over.
Look, I think Michael Matroli gets it done either with an ankle lock or he finds a way to get to the back. If he can get out from behind, or get out from underneath him, or get to a maybe potential trip, I don't know if he's gonna be able to take him down. He's gonna have to find a way to not be stuck directly underneath him. If he can stay out on the outside, get to his back, I think he chokes him out, or he finishes him with an ankle lock.
I think Matroli has to get past the 3-minute mark.
Yeah,
Pudzianowski, like he's much better at being controlled. He doesn't take these giant risks like he used to in the past. He's become a decent fighter. You can't take anything away from him.
No.
Before, guys were saying, "Oh, he's not that strong." When they fought him, it's like he doesn't know what he's doing. And it doesn't matter how strong you are, if you have someone that understands leverage and technique, it's going to outdo the raw poundage that someone can pick up. And so he's a completely different fighter now, but he is someone that he does load up, and he loads up big time and tries to hit you anywhere towards the head area with his fist, his forearm. It doesn't matter. And when it lands, it does damage. So Matroli's got to really just pick and move, just sit there, pick his spots, move, make him frustrated, and then start to turn it on. And skill-wise, he's a much better fighter than Marius. Yeah. But Marius is still a beast as a human being.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I look at it like as if you and I were to fight, man. I'm the little guy, you're the big guy, and
That's
Timber
kind of what it
falls
is.
on
Timber,
top.
hey,
It's
you know it
exactly
works,
what it'd
baby.
be like. Yeah. Fucking
And
oak tree right
then
on
you're
my
doing
head
all
and
that
my
stuff.
ribs.
You think I'll get him off? No, you won't.
No, it's gonna be hard. At least for 3 minutes, it's gonna be hard.
That's exactly it. 3 minutes, it's done.
All right, what else you got for us, Dave?
All right, so we got a boxing fight this weekend. Gervonta Davis versus Rolando
Tank
Romero.
Davis against Romero. That's actually a good fight. I like that fight.
Yeah, Davis is good.
Yes, he is.
He's
He's
good.
a lot
He's got
more.
power.
A lot of people talk about him being, he's nothing but a mouth. No, he is not.
No, he can fight.
He is a skilled sumbitch who can fight. He can take a shot. He can definitely give a shot. I have nothing but praise for Tank Davis.
Yeah.
The dude is good.
He's got power. He's a small. He's like a little bulldog. He will walk you down, but he's also good counter striking. But he's better when he's the bulldog. He's better when he walks you down and puts you on your back heel. So if he can do that, I think he's got a good chance of winning against Romero. But Romero's a dog too.
Yeah, he is.
So the two of them, it's going to come down to whether Davis can keep his chin tucked and he can try to like basically just kind of walk him down, make him fight in uncomfortable positions. If he can do that, okay, I think he's going to continue to be a bullet. He's really good.
Well, it's because
I don't know how.
his speed is fantastic. He's got fast hands. His footwork is fantastic. He moves his feet really well. He's always, even though he's throwing a lot of shots from different angles, he's got balance throughout all of it, and that gives him power. And so in watching Romero's more of that linear guy who comes forward. He puts you on your back foot a lot of the time, and he comes at you with just clean shots, goes to the body well. He's going to have to work out how to keep Tank Davis from using the angles that he likes to create with his footwork. He's got to figure out where he's going to be. Sometimes, don't throw where he's at. Throw where you believe he's going to be at. And I know that sounds weird, but that's just the truth when it comes to fighting.
Yeah. Well, they're not big guys, so they get to those movements pretty fast.
Oh yeah.
They get to the angles a lot faster than a lot of these other. When you start getting to that 160, to the Canelo sizes, they don't get there to the hips and to the corners as fast as these littler guys.
Yep.
So, I'm not familiar too much with O'Sullivan and Lara. I know I have seen them fight, but I can't speak too knowledgeable on either one because I've only seen probably each one of them fight maybe once in the last couple of years.
You've seen Irizlandi Lara fight. He's fought for multiple titles and stuff. Really good fighter. I mean, he is just typical, I want to say typical like Cuban fighter. He's just good everywhere. And Gary O'Sullivan, tough as hell. Actually, he's got good speed, moves well. I think that's going to be a really good fight. And that's for, I think Lara's the middleweight champion on that one. And so that's going to be a good contest. Gary O'Sullivan's tough, man. He's fun to watch. It's almost that question of, is Lara getting up in years where he's slowing down maybe a little bit? He definitely has the fight IQ. He can fight against anywhere in any style. He's just really just a beautiful boxer. So, but it's going to be fun.
Those are on May 28th in New York, Showtime pay-per-view. So if you guys want to check those out, Davis is always fun to watch. So check it out.
Yeah.
What else you got for us there, Dave?
All right, so you guys wanted to touch on the whole judging thing from this past weekend. There were comments made. Josh, you'd pointed out DC and Luke Thomas comments that you saw on Instagram. So I want to play those comments for you guys. And then you guys wanted to kind of elaborate on the whole judging situation from the weekend, how it's impacting fights. Do you want the video clips first, or do you want them as your?
Yeah, I think we got to talk the video clips first, so then they can, then everyone understands what we're talking about. So let's talk. So you want to go DC's first?
Yeah, let's do that.
The whole fight last night was wrong. I don't know how you find, and this is no knock on Ketlin Vieira, right? So when I state these opinions, it's not a direct attack on any one in particular. This is just me saying what I feel and where I believe the blame resides. And the blame resides in the judging. It really does. And there's a lot of times in which we are calling the fights and we get lost talking about the judging, what we think the scorecards will be, and how the fight is going to look at the end. And the reality is when we do that, we are not doing our job. We aren't. My job is not to tell you who's winning the rounds. My job is to tell you, how does a fighter get from point A to point B? How do they do this, and the other? How do you manage what goes on inside of that octagon from fighter one's perspective to fighter two's perspective? How does fighter one get his hand raised? What does fighter two need to do in order to not allow that to happen, and vice versa? But because the judging has become such a main topic of conversation, now we are spending time discussing that because we are so unsure about what it's going to look like at the end of the fight.
This show is brought to you by mybookie.ag. So you guys, look at, we put up some good numbers for you guys at mybookie.ag, and John and I do a great job of breaking down the fights for you. That's why you guys are here, because you guys enjoy our conversation, our banter back and forth. But we also do a great job of giving you guys some insight on who potentially may win these fights. So take that, go to mybookie.ag, use our promo code weighing in. They're going to give you a little bit of extra cash on your first initial deposit. And when they do that, take down some of our information, figure out where we're leaning. Look, we're not always saying that person is going to win. We're telling you what are the best betting odds. We're giving you those odds, and we're telling you that this person could win based off of those odds, and you can make a lot of money off of those odds. So sometimes we will lean with the favorite, and sometimes we'll go the other way and go against with an underdog. And that's when you make the big money. Also, we can give you the round-by-round betting as well. There's so many different ways. You can go armbar, triangle, you can go by finishes. You have plenty of options to bet at mybookie.ag. Use that promo code Wayne, and we want to thank you guys so much for supporting us and mybookie.ag. If you guys click that QR code right there that Podcast Dave is going to put up, that'll take you to mybookie.ag/Wayne in. And when that does that, use our promo code to get that initial deposit. And when that initial deposit, give you a little extra cash, win some money.
Let's talk about that first.
What's that? We'll talk about DC's comments first. And then, obviously, and then we're going to talk about Luke Thomas did up a video as well that kind of backed up exactly what I said last week. Luke and I don't always agree on things, and there's other shows too that I don't. Most people don't always agree with me on. In this situation with DC, though, he is correct though, John, that as an analyst, you shouldn't be talking about the judging anyways. It's not your job to judge the fight from the side, because when you are as an analyst on the side, okay. The reason why I'm gonna go this way right now is
go ahead.
You're in a different situation.
Thank you.
That's what my point is.
I hate it.
Is that I agree with you. You're put in a different situation because of the rules and the judging and all the things that you were a part of for so long, from the beginning of the sport. And so with DC and with Paul Felder, with myself included, when I was working side by side with you, we shouldn't be talking about the judging. Now, if you want to break it down in terms of, hey, that shot really rocked him, and the judges, I don't know, in terms, sometimes judges can't see it from that angle. And I'm going to give it, the reason why I'm going to say that is I sat next to Mike Bell in the Yoel Romero fight. And there was moments in that fight where I was like, or sorry, not the Yoel Romero fight, but the MVP Storley fight. Mm-hmm. And I sat next to him for that fight, and I was looking where Mike Bell was sitting, and their back was to us. I couldn't see how hard the shots were that were landing, but then if I looked down at the monitor, I couldn't see it there either. So what is he looking at? He's get the same damn angle from there, from here. Why doesn't he have a different angle on the monitor? I was looking at the ass, and he was looking at the ass in both directions, and I'm sitting right next to him. Yeah. So it's not really our job as an analyst, myself being included, DC, Paul Felder, any other analyst that works next to them, okay, Randy Couture at PFL, anybody. It's not our job to analyze the fight in terms of the judging aspect. Like DC said, we shouldn't be judging the fight, but we should be saying this fighter needs to get this done from point A to point B against B fighter. I need to see him create more distance, okay, to land the bigger shots. Throw that jab more, stick it in his face, hide his combinations, hide his kicks behind his combinations. You've got to do more of that as an analyst than sit there and judge the fight, because everyone at home now, because like I said, I was here at the gym all day on Saturday, get to watch the fights until the next day. My phone was blowing up with people saying, man, Holly Holm got robbed. She got robbed. And then I went home and I thought Holly Holm lost. I watched the fight. I watched how many times, because when we get into the Luke Thomas conversation, John, and I told you this that next when we filmed, I said, I thought Holy Holm lost. Every time she pressed Vieira to the fence, she didn't do a lot. Okay, controlling someone against the fence, but nothing's really being done. And you're the one in the dominant position, and you're not doing any damage. You're not doing anything. As a judge, I'm thinking to myself, man, you could have done a lot more, but you're not. You're just trying to hold them against the fence. And then the other thing for Vieira, it's kind of her fault too, though, because you should have done more to get your back off the fence. That overhook whizzer, sure, you hit the throw, but you should have done more. After you threw, you didn't get it, break away, make space, throw the combinations, press her to the fence, whatever it is. Okay, but it's not our job to spend that time judging the fight, because then we skew people at home. Like everyone that texts me, oh, she got robbed. They don't fucking know dick about fighting. They only know what they're, like they're fans. They don't know about the judging criterias. They don't know that damage comes first. If you're going to talk about who landed the harder shots, I'm sorry. Vieira landed the harder shots. There was plenty of times in that fight where Vieira hit her with a shot and stoned her, or is it stoned her?
Frozen.
What is it?
Froze
her.
Yeah.
She froze her in that spot for a second, and she didn't follow up. That was her own damn fault. That was Vieira's own fault.
That's right.
But Holly was hurt. She was in trouble. That, to me, wins the minute, and sometimes maybe even the rest of the round, if you didn't do anything else. If you just need my thigh and press me to the fence, and I landed that shot where I stoned you for a sec, I won that round. Am I right or am I wrong if we're talking damage?
No, you're absolutely right. Here's one of the things that people have to think about, and this is, everyone's sitting there and they're dogging the judges. Okay, and that's okay. It's easy to do. That's because you've never sat in that chair. You've never, ever been in a position, and DC is exactly the same thing. He's never been in a position where his score counted. And everyone thinks that the judges don't care. All right? I'm telling you right now, they fucking care. They care more than you realize. They do more work than you realize. They talk about each of these rounds, not each of these fights, each of these rounds over and over again. They get on these group texts and they say, all right, I want you to watch this moment. And they'll go on Zooms together and they do all of this work. To sit there and say that they don't understand the sport, no, you don't understand who they are. A ton of these people are people with black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, have been part of doing things for a long time. Look, in the beginning of MMA, we had a lot of judges that did not belong. All right, I'm just going to say it, straight out. There were people that came from a martial arts background that had nothing to do with anything that was being used in MMA. There were boxing officials that had no idea about anything on the ground. Those people are not still there. Now, I can come up with names that people are going to say, and they'll say they're still there. They've done a lot to try to stay there, and that's all part of their athletic commission deciding that they're going to keep that person in that position. It's not my job to tell them what to do. I've told people what I think is the most important, and you've heard me say it, any person that is in charge of an athletic commission and they're going to put someone's butt in that chair, I tell them all the time, I don't care if you like that person or you hate that person. If that person is someone you hate, but they're the very best person to put in that chair, then that's the person you should be putting in that chair. And if you don't, shame on you, because you're the reason that when someone complains about the fight not being judged correctly, you created it. So when you're looking at this, the one thing I want everyone to realize is, how many times do you watch a fight? Now, and I'm telling you this, just it's honest, you get to see more angles of the fight than any judge does. In our last show in London for Bellator, I asked that the judges could get a bigger monitor, a monitor that was probably about, an 18-inch monitor, diagonally. So it's a big monitor. They all loved it. Why? Because they can look up there, and when it is the back, hopefully they can look down there, and the camera is not the same angle. That's on the director.
Yeah.
But that's what you'll get. But how many times have any of you sat in one spot watched a fight, not looked down at a phone, not talked to anybody, not done anything except analyze exactly what is going on in the fight. It doesn't happen, and DC can't do that. DC is talking, and as soon as he's talking, I can tell you, look, I have figured this out by doing what I do. Because you're talking, you'll watch something, you'll see it, and you'll forget it. And it makes it very difficult for you to actually score the fight, because there's times when I'll put a score down and then I remember, oh shit, like you said, that fighter got frozen. And god damn, I forgot about that. That happened in like the first 45 seconds of the round, and I forgot about it, and I want to go back and change it, and I can't. But because I'm talking the whole time. And it makes it very difficult for you to come up with sometimes the accurate score that you would like to. But judges are not doing any of those things. They're not sitting there with their phone. 5 minutes, 100% attention on what is occurring. Because if you don't, at those moments that you could miss, could be the difference maker in which way that round will go. I'm going to go to the Rob Font versus Chito Vera, because this is what you're talking about with damage. Rob Font, in the fight with Chito Vera, volume-wise, was lighting Chito Vera up. He was landing way more strikes. He was landing beautiful combinations at times. The first round definitely goes to Rob Font. And the second round, he's winning. And this is where people talk about times. You can't sit there and consider how much time really is going on in the round when it comes to that striking things, and get rid of the strike stats. All of that is bullshit. It doesn't mean a thing, because you can't tell me that those strike stats are exactly the same as far as the power, because power makes a huge difference. When Rob Font is winning the second round of that fight, and he is winning it, and Chito Vera hurts him right near the end of the round, drops him on his ass, and every judge gave the round to Chito Vera because he damaged him. He hurt him. He had what we call a fight-ending sequence, possibly. He wasn't able to finish it, but that fight-ending sequence was the most complete act at trying to finish the fight between both fighters. That's what the judges are going to give. And it happened in the third round, and then it happened again the same way in the fourth round, and it even happened in the fifth round. And you saw the judges consistently give the rounds to Chito Vera based upon damage. He knocked Rob Font off his butt. What judges are looking for when it comes to the striking game, look at knockdowns are your number one thing. But there are 3 types of knockdowns. When I say there's 5 different types of knockdowns, I'll tell you, but 3 locations that you can knock somebody down. You can knock somebody down with a punch, elbow, knee, or kick to the head, right? Or to the body, or you can knock them down with a leg kick that's so powerful it knocks them down, right? Are all those the same? They're all knockdowns. Are they all the same? No, they're not all the same.
Absolutely not.
Can't be.
If I take you off your feet, yeah, but by kicking your leg, that's not the same.
But it's
as if I knocked you down your hand and your ass.
But does it hurt?
Head.
It hurts.
Yes.
But is it the same as I knock you down with the kick to the head? No. The brain runs everything. And if you get knocked down with a shot where you get hit to the head and it puts you down, normally that's saying that you got rocked. The way you fall has a lot to do with what the judges are going to look for. When you fall, do you fall backwards and your hands go out to brace your fall? If that is what's occurring, that's telling the judge, yeah, you got knocked down, but you're still there. Sometimes you'll fall back and you can't brace yourself. You get to a position where your hands are out and you're falling back and nothing you can do because your body's not responding. You've talked all the time about, yeah, I saw that mat coming up. I'm telling myself, put my hands out there. Can't do it.
Yeah.
Not happening. So you have that type of knockdown. You have knockdowns where people go sideways. That's a more severe knockdown because people just don't fall going sideways. They'll fall going backwards much easier than they will fall going sideways. So it's telling you they were disrupted more. Falling forward, huge, is telling you there's a huge disruption in that fighter. So that's going to score big. It might be the end of the fight. So all of these things are what the judges are considering when you're talking about knockdowns, but all knockdowns are not the same. And so
not created equally.
But the knockdown is that number one thing. Then you go from knockdowns into heavy strikes and heavy damaging strikes. And when we talk about heavy damaging strikes, we're talking about strikes that you visibly see the effect upon the fighter. You see the shot, and Holly, she gets frozen. That's telling you that's a heavy shot. It froze her. You see the stanky leg. You see the wobble and them trying to hold her position. You see them get hit, and you see all of a sudden they're circling away. They had been coming forward all this time. Now they're circling backwards and trying to gain distance. All smart. Good job. But it's telling the judge that heavy shot was damaging. Then you'll have heavy blows, ones that you hear, you see, they hit hard. You don't see that effect that the fighter takes it in. Kind of the difference that we were seeing between Eric Anders and the Iron Turtle in Park. The Iron Turtle was getting hit by shots by Anders that were clean, but there was no reaction. But sometimes Anders was giving that reaction like he was being hurt. It's just the difference that you're seeing. And both heavy shots, but one is reacting differently. And so you have those heavy shots that you look, you say, yeah, that's a heavy shot. And then you have what we call the volume strikes. The jabs that, it's a clean, it hits, but there's no effect in the fight. The leg kicks that you don't see the fighter being affected by, that's volume. And so that's your striking elements that you're looking at. And then I'm not going to get into grappling right now, but that's a lot to look at. And when you or anyone else is sitting at home, go 5 minutes and start to chronologically look at that. Don't go by numbers, go by effect. Efficient and effectiveness. What's the effective strikes?
John, there was, I don't know, I can't remember what fight it was, but it was about a month ago, maybe a little bit longer than that. There was a fight that you and I had watched, and we both came back, and I had went one way, I think, and you went the other. And then you went back and watched it again. Mm-hmm. And you said, I had people over, I wasn't really paying attention, and and like, not just me being right, but it was like, you know what? I actually would have went the other way. I can't remember what fight it was, but you said basically, no, I actually would have went the other way. Had I been paying attention, not had people over. He's like, I've learned now. Like you were saying, like, I'm done having people over now when I watch fights.
I said that about Aljamain Sterling and Peter Yan.
There you go.
That was it.
So it's, you know what I mean? So when you go back and you watch it and you're saying like, okay, yeah, maybe, I think we were talking about the first fight, right? Because rounds 1 through 3 or whatever would have been judged. So I think that we were talking about that
we were talking about the second fight, and I think it was round 1 of the second fight. Because I on our podcast I had come out and I was, this is what I'm talking about. You'll miss things when you are talking and you're going to miss things. And I missed things. And Aljamain, you could take a look at that and say, yeah, Aljamain could definitely have won that round. Peter Yan, if you're looking for the power, Aljamain is moving backwards off of those shots that Peter Yan is throwing, but Aljamain is being efficient with his leg kicks. His volume is there. And the output of Aljamain is above what the output of Yan was. So, absolutely. And I said, you know what? When I watch the fights from now on, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to sit there with my friends because it makes a difference. You're talking, you're bullshitting, and you're not seeing everything. You're not watching everything.
But the other thing for me, look with DC. DC's my boy, and I'm not digging at him at all, and I'm not gonna dig at him. I'm just simply saying is that I spend a lot of time, even now that I'm not working cage side, I spend a lot of time because I've become good friends with the judges through you, and just because we work with Bellator. But I mean, like, talk to them, figure it out, figure out what they're looking at. I've gotten after some of the refs. You heard me.
Oh yeah.
I tell them what do I tell them what do I tell them before every show?
Don't fuck this up.
Don't fuck it up.
That was my line.
Because to me, it's like, hey, and like you said, these guys' careers, these fighters' careers are on the line. They're one fight away from getting cut from the UFC or from Bellator
or from getting
wherever,
a bigger
if they don't
contract.
Have a good performance. Yeah, from getting a bigger contract. You're absolutely correct. And so, but as an analyst, if you're going to talk about the judging, you're going to talk about what they're potentially looking at, why don't you go up to them and talk to these judges? Don't just walk past them and go, hey, guys. Talk to them. Like, I've had several of them. I said, hey, that was an early stoppage. I was like, you fucked it up. He's like, no. Let me tell you. This guy's 1-0 and this guy's 2-0. And the way he was doing this and this and this, I'm not going to ruin his career. I don't need to see him go face down, ass up when he's only got 2 professional fights.
Yep.
He's like, now, if this was a title fight, he's like, I'm letting that guy go out on his shield. He's like, but I'm not going to ruin this young kid's career. He could probably have a really bright career. Have I just stopped the fight early and we move on? Let him go back to the drawing board, figure it all out, come back and be in and get some wins. And I started to understand it from there. That made a big difference. Also, too, with some of the other judging criteria that I've had several conversations with these judges about, is just making sure that I know what I'm looking at before I go talking about it in my podcast or basically on air. That's the other thing, is I do bring it up sometimes. Like, hey,
Sure.
I said that I thought one of those fights was stopped early. And then after I talked to the judge, I came on the podcast and I said, the referee. I said, no. I said, I fucked up. I said on the air that this, and this, and now on my podcast, I'm here to say I apologize. Because I understood now the reasons why it was an earlier stoppage, because the fighter was not as experienced as someone like myself. Now, see, someone like myself or someone like a DC or a Nate Diaz or whoever else, they want to be able to go out on their shield. They want that thing to last to the bitter end. But as refs, you guys understand that. They know every fighter. We talk to all the refs normally before the fights. Like, hey, what do you know about this guy? Should I look out for this? What is he good at? What is he not good at? They do their research. They try to understand what each one's good at and which ones are not good at, and how much damage can they take? Is their chin good? Have you seen them take shots? This guy has a powerful punch. This person takes a lot of damage. Okay, is he okay if he gets wobbled? Case in point, Eddie Alvarez. How many damn times could that guy's fights have been stopped?
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But they know exactly who Eddie is. He's the guy that will never quit. He's got, he gets rocked a little bit, but the majority of the time comes back.
Fights his way out of it.
And fucking fights his way out of it and steals the show.
Yep.
So you got to let guys like that with all the experience, let it play out.
Yeah.
So these guys know what they're doing. I just think if you're an analyst, don't just spend time blowing them up on air, because I've messed up myself.
It's easy to do.
Spend time talking to them. Spend time, hey, what were you looking at? What did you see? Like, why did you go that way? Because then now we can talk about it a little bit better. Because the last thing we want to do is start telling everybody at home that the judging's fucked up, and then now you end up with all the fights rigged. Oh, it's this, and then it's just gonna get led into something like that. Like, oh, I don't know what the fuck they were looking at. I agree with you. Go home, rewatch the fights. Break it down, no sound. Turn the commentary off, obviously. Break it down, no sound, and watch it. Oh, she got hurt. Oh, she just pressed her. Oh, she only kneed her to the thigh in 2 minutes. All she did was knee her to the thigh. No elbows, no strikes, just head position. Head position does not win you fights.
No, it helps you win a fight.
It helps you win a fight, but it's not. That's not going to win you fights.
No, it's not.
If I'm going to take head position over me hip tossing you, the hip toss wins.
Hello. Yeah.
That's my point.
Well, I agree with you.
And so there's so much more that goes into it, and I don't want to dig on the judges. I'm not taking a dig at all at my boy DC. I just think that if we're sitting on the analyst roles, we need to start doing what everyone talks about the judges doing. Is they don't even care. They don't. No. Then if we should care that much as an analyst, we should be approaching the judges afterwards and saying, "Hey, what did you see on this fight? Why'd you judge it that way?"
Absolutely. And they're going to talk to you, because they have nothing to hide. Unfortunately, the athletic commissions don't want the judges talking to the media. Okay, they don't, and okay, that's the rules, and so the judges don't. So then it becomes, they're just trying to hide. They're not. They would like to tell you exactly what they saw and why they scored something a certain way, but they're not allowed to, and so they don't. But
I'm glad they're not allowed to, John. So it could be flipped around, clickbait top stuff, making it an even worse situation. I think it's brilliant they're not allowed to. Fucking media can't be trusted anywhere, so I don't trust any of them.
I truly believe on big fights, big shows, there should be the ability for the media 5 minutes with the referee and the judges of those fights. You get 5 minutes to ask them the questions that you want to ask them. I think it's smart.
I don't.
It's because it's transparent. There's none of that bullshit that comes out about, if the referee's gonna go up there and say something stupid, then it's on the referee. It's on that person. It's on the judge.
If you're a ref, though, you don't want to be put in that situation.
No, you don't. I'm not saying you do, but it definitely makes you become articulate as to why you made the decisions you made.
I'd be a fucking Marshawn Lynch right off the bat. I'm only here so I don't get fined. That's all. That's what I would be. I'd be Marshawn Lynch right away. I'm only here so I don't get fined.
That's it. Let's hear Luke Thomas.
Let's hear Luke Thomas.
If you initiate the clinch with me in the same way that she did, and then we separate, and I've hit one time on my lead left hand, and I rock your head back, you don't win that minute. I win that minute. You saw a lot of that. There is a case for Holly Holm. We need to tamper back the confusion about how judges are arriving at these positions. Elite fighters seem to be very confused and not clear on what the judges are looking for. And if you get a little bit more symmetry between that, I think you're going to get fewer of these situations, which of course are arguable in either way. What is not arguable is that rounds 1, 3, 4, and 5 are clearly Holmes. No, they are not. No, they are not. You cannot push somebody into the fence, use a control position where you have literal advantages positionally and you don't really add any offense. And then when it separates, you get your head rocked back. Dude, you're going to lose rounds that way.
Well, then
just the way that it goes. If you initiate...
Boy, he listened.
That's exact.
He listened to you on the podcast, baby.
Well, I looked at it like she was the one that was getting hurt, even if it was only 1 or 2 shots around. Because Vera didn't have a lot of output. I'm not gonna sit
that was
here
her
and say
biggest
she
problem.
did.
That was her biggest problem in the fight.
And look, and I'm gonna be 100% honest. I could give 2 shits who won the fight. I thought Holly was gonna walk away with it, to be honest, because I thought Holly was gonna be the faster fighter. I said that in the show before. I thought Holly would stick and move. She'd outpoint her with the harder shots, and she'd be able to put her combinations together. But when I saw how much she has slowed down, she was the slower fighter that night, and she was pushing everything, and it was laboring. It was sad to see, but I still thought the fight should have never been that close. For Vieira to allow that fight to be that close with someone who obviously is getting older in age, but just didn't have the output either that she needed or the power without laboring out those strikes. Holly's a stud. There's no doubt about it. But Father Time comes for all of us. It came for me. It came for DC. It came for everyone else. Even Cain Velasquez, everyone else that I know, it's all come for. It's going to keep coming for everyone else that's here at 23 years old. They're going to feel it too. It just comes down to the fact that we should understand, not just as analysts, but fans at home should all understand what they're looking at. Damage is the number one criteria. So if you see someone get rocked, frozen at all, and then the rest of the round they're just pressed against the fence, that person who rocked him is winning that round. I don't care if you held me against the fence for 2 minutes. You didn't do shit.
Okay, and this is where I'm going to say it, the analysts from the UFC many times use that phrase of octagon control. All right. What the rule talks about is cage or ring control. And they'll say, he had octagon control. People, so you understand, that is the last element that is used in judging a fight if the judges cannot come up with a winner based upon effective striking or grappling, effective aggressiveness, then the last thing that they'll say is they'll go down to cage control. But the commentary many times talks about octagon control. They talk about it all the time when it is something that's never even considered by the judges.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like if you and I are standing square, in the center of the cage, and I'm pushing you around, but we're not throwing any strikes, like how Rose and Carla were doing. Yeah. You're going to end up with a decision like the one you got, because Carla was kind of walking forward, trying to get close enough to get the takedown. Even though she never really succeeded, that's what they based it off of, because there was nothing going on. Had Rose done a little bit more, give me 1 or 2 more strikes that landed clean, she would have won every round. That's how close that fight was. But like you said, they're judging the octagon control based off of the fact that no one did anything. That's the only reason why they're using that criteria. So when you get into the other situation, that's why when I go back to the Logan Storley fight with MVP, I had Logan winning, but I gave rounds 3 and 4 to MVP because he had landed the harder shots, and the rest of the round Logan didn't do anything. That's what I gave. So I had it be in 3. I had it be in 3 too.
It's understandable, and this is the whole part. Again, people are all upset when you give the fight to Logan Storley. They're saying, all he did was hold him. Stop. What he did is he took a guy that's really dangerous and took him out of his game and put him into Logan Storley's game. if that guy being MVP wants to change that, then he's got to get himself up from that position. Make it to where you create the situation where now the judges have more striking by you to consider. But when a guy is controlling you throughout that round, even though it's not exciting, I didn't think it was an exciting fight, but I thought Logan Storley, he won it based upon rounds. You got to give it to him. But that's just, sometimes people are not going to be happy with judging either way. Half are going to want it one way, half are going to want it another way. And whichever half lost, they got robbed. They didn't get robbed. It was a close fight. Be it a close fight as a good fight, or sometimes a close fight as a bad fight.
John, I think not just analysts, but I think people, okay, that across the board, whether it's in boxing, whether it's in MMA, stop using the term robbed.
Oh my God.
Stop.
Yeah.
Okay. It's very rare that a fighter is robbed.
Yeah.
Very rare. And I'll give you guys examples. My third fight with Gil, my fight with Benson, all those fights I thought I won. My fight with Bobby Green, I thought I won all three of those fights. That's not a robbery, though. They were so close. That's not a robbery. I'm not mad about it. It's like, yeah, sure, you're down about it. But at the end of the day, I've always said this. In 10 years, no one's gonna give a shit about us. Okay, they're gonna care about Chimaev. They're gonna care about other guys that are 23 and 26. You know what I mean? So I don't get my panties in a bunch over it all. So they aren't robberies. They're not. No. Fighters got to move on, get better, and do the best they can, and that's it. But to sit there and dwell on the fact that it's a robbery, and we got to stop throwing that term around because it's used so loosely now. Every time it doesn't go the way that analysts or anybody else thinks that a fight should have went one way because we're professional fighters. If you don't know the rules, though, majority of the time, that's the other thing. We don't know. Fighters, top-level elite fighters across the board don't know the rules. They don't. They have no idea what the rules are. You hear them all the time. Hey, it was like they get their eye poked. If I stop now, do I win? You should know the rules. Why are you asking that question? You should know the rules.
So
and so
I just look at the other side. If the referee answers that, I'm going to kick them in the ass.
If the fighters don't know the rules, you think the casual fan at home that says you got robbed knows the rules? Absolutely not. Yeah. And so, anyways, there's a lot of different ways we can go on it. But look, like I said, no way am I digging at DC. And I thought what Luke said was pretty good, and that's only because it verified what I said. But that's about it. But to be honest, John, I don't care who won. If Vieira, I looked at it too. Vieira, if she would have lost, I'd be like, hey, you didn't do enough. It's your own fault. Yes. If the judges would have went the other way, I'd been like, yeah, you went the other way. It's your fault. You could have done more against the cage. You could have done more in breaking space. You could have done a lot more.
I actually think a lot of this has to do with Holly being where she's at in her career. People are kind of looking like, uh-oh, that means there'll be no title run because she lost. That puts her down and puts Vieira up and stuff. And that, that may be, part of it and stuff. And it's one way of looking at it. It's a possibility that it's true, but I don't know. You look at that, and like I said, I had Holly winning 3-2. I think you had Vieira winning 3-2. There's a one-round difference in there, and that it is what it is.
Close fights. Yep. Like in no way. That's what I'm getting back at. Is that with Logan and MVP, with Vieira and Holmes, and with other fights that have been close. If they're 3-2 one way, 3-2 the other, or they're a split, there's no way you call it a robbery.
No.
Because three judges that are not skewed by commentary, they're not skewed by anything, they had it split. It's not a robbery then. Nope. It's that three other people that they're trained to do these jobs believe that it was a close fight.
One of the judges had Holly winning. That's why it's the split. And I think it was Sal D'Amato had Holly winning. And I'm trying to think. I think it was Mike Bell had Vieira winning. And I can't remember the third judge, but
that's why Mike Bell texted me and said, "Hey, good job on the analysis, on the analysis of the fight, on the breakdown of the fight." No. All right. Well, hey, Dave, we've kind of beat this.
We beat it up,
but we beat it up.
All right.
Beat it up so bad, got to put a steak on it. All right.
Let's look at this next topic. We got the official lineup for UFC 277. So how about we get an early preview on what you guys think of the card?
It's a really
Let's zoom
good
into
card.
that.
It's a really good card. First off,
It's all right.
No, come on, let's be honest.
I'm being sarcastic.
Okay, thank
John.
you very
Come
much.
on.
The first
Those
fight,
of you listening in your car, you guys
Ankalaev
gotta
against
see I'm being
Anthony Smith is an interesting matchup. I really like that one. I think that's a tough fight for Anthony with Ankalaev. Man, that's 4 and 5. Paulo Costa against Luke Rockhold. Hello. That's
Why that fight though? That's driving me crazy, Luke.
Nope.
I've told him to his face too. I'm like, please. I'm like, can we get a warm up fight? Can we get someone like, just give me a warm up
He
fight?
doesn't,
Give me
want
one
a
guy.
warm fight, man.
No, he doesn't.
know.
It's driving me nuts.
The real question
He's
is,
my boy though.
how much cage corrosion is there with Luke because he hasn't been in the cage fighting?
No.
Like if there is a huge difference here though in that fight, Luke is much more talented on the ground than Paulo Costa. Much more.
Way more.
Yeah.
Way more.
So if he can get that fight
Yeah.
to the ground, that's a great way for him to capitalize in his approach at winning that fight. But I'm not going to say anything to him. He knows what he's doing. Derek Lewis against Pavlovich. That's a fun fight. That's Derek Lewis is always fun. I just enjoy watching the Black Beast. Then you got Moreno against Kai Kara France. It's for the interim title. Another interim title. Hello.
Why is it for the interim title? What's wrong with what's his name?
Hand injury. Didn't he have a hand injury?
Him too? I thought that.
Figueiredo?
I don't know. Is it Figueroa? I
Figueiredo.
thought was it shoulder?
I thought he had a hand injury too.
Maybe.
I think it's hand,
All right.
yeah.
Is
And
it
this
hand?
was-
Okay.
Yeah, and this was what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago as we were talking
Oh,
about.
gotcha.
And then you got Pena against Nunes 2. We'll see if Amanda changes her approach to the fights.
You mean she does cardio?
We'll see what she does.
I
Juliana's been
like
talking
Amanda.
a lot of smack, man.
Yeah.
A
Yeah, I
lot.
know.
And hold on.
I'm glad you said smack and not snap.
A lot, not only to Amanda, to everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah. She's letting it fly, man.
She is.
She's letting it fly. The shit's just flowing out the mouth right now. I love it though. I honestly love it because she's confident in herself. She's always been confident.
Yes,
in
she
herself.
has.
I look at that fight and I think she could do it again.
She could.
She's got to be a little bit more careful. She got to realize that Amanda will drag. She will be in better shape this time. It will. I think Amanda won't slow down probably till about three-quarters of the way through the second round. But just for for those of you guys at home, look, Amanda, she will slow down. She throws power behind everything, and she's a big body frame. And for her to carry around the weight that she's gonna cut some weight. She's gonna put the weight back on. She's not walking around that normal weight like Juliana is. Juliana's a bigger girl, but she's not the size of Amanda Nunes. And so for her to the weight cut and she doesn't slow down as much as the fight goes on, she's got a gas tank on her. Juliana Pena's got gas. She will still be there. She will take shots. She showed it in her last fight. She's a dog.
Yep.
Both of them are dogs. And I mean that in like a aggressive.
You mean that in the most
Yeah.
loving fashion as possible.
Yes, in the most loving way.
Got it.
I think just my personal opinion, Amanda is going to have a really good night. Juliana's going to be there, and I hope she doesn't believe it's going to all go down the same way it did the first time because Amanda, as a champion, will make those changes.
Well, you recall that I called that fight. I thought Juliana. I didn't think that Amanda respected Juliana enough, and I thought that this was going to be a fight that, look, she could sneak in there and take this thing, and especially if she got it to the ground. I said, look, on the ground, top position, she is a monster in the top position. I agree with you. I think that, hey, sometimes, as the champion, you got to get woken up. You got to get shaken. She got shaken. And you're going to see the best Amanda Nunes you can see. That doesn't mean that Juliana can't beat her. It's just you're going to see a different Amanda Nunes. You're going to be a smarter, more prepared, and more, I think, mentally focused fighter in this one than we saw in the last one.
Absolutely. I think she's beaten. Amanda's beaten everyone.
Yep.
Okay, including Cyborg. And so that feeling, honestly, is like, do I really got to get up for this? She ranked number 5 or whatever you were ranked before. I don't even know if she was ranked that high. And then it's like, those are fights that are hard to get motivated
Sure.
for. It's about, you need someone in front of you. You need a target in front of you.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Juliana Pena was the target for her, the motivator. Now, the way she went out, I think she's going to be motivated. I think you're going to see a different Amanda Nunes this fight. I'm not saying she's going to win because I do think that Juliana
still has areas where I believe she is a better fighter in that area than Amanda. And there's areas where Amanda is a better fighter than Juliana. It's a matter of who can put the fight where they want it to be.
80% of the time, who wins the rematch? The person who won the first one. There you go. But the Brandon Moreno fight, Kai Kara-France, going to be a dog fight. Going to be good.
That's a good fight.
I think if Brandon Moreno can get this fight to the ground, do some work down there, I think he's got a good chance of winning this fight. If he's got to keep it on the feet, I think he's still there. He's still there. He's in it for sure. But I'm going to give Kai Kara-France the advantage.
Oh yeah, he's got good for 125 pounds. He's got snap. A lot of guys can't put someone out with one shot. Kai Kara-France is a guy that he's right there. He can do it. That's impressive and that's scary when you're looking at the flyweight. But Brandon Moreno, he's got a chin. He'll take shots. Mm-hmm. So this is a great matchup.
Ankalaev and Smith for me is going to be a good fight, but Smith's got to stay off his back. But he's got to be on top.
Yes.
He's got to find a way to get to the top position. I don't know if he has the wrestling to take him down. I also don't know if he wants to waste the energy trying to take him down and leave himself vulnerable on the feet. Because Anthony, he's got power on the feet, but he tends to slow down around the end of round 2. So he starts slowing down. This is not a 5-round fight, so if he can win the first 2 rounds and survive the third, because Ankalaev will still be there in the third round. Pushing pace, trying to walk him down, land the big shots. The other thing, though, too, with Ankalaev is he hasn't been utilized in his wrestling lately. He's been trying to stand with everyone. All standing. So that doesn't benefit him in this fight against Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith has got power. Anthony Smith can get it done on the feet.
Yeah. Anthony is formidable on his feet. He's tough.
Yes, very much.
And if he hurts you,
I don't think Ankalaev should stand too much.
If he hurts you, he's a finisher. He will finish you.
Yep.
So,
but I agree with you, John. That makes for a fun fight. And of course, who doesn't want to see Mr. Balls are hot? All right.
He's awesome. Sorry.
I'll always watch Derek Lewis, man. I love it. All right, what else you got for us there, Dave?
All right, let's wrap up on this little pleasant story here. Kevin Holland comes to the rescue one more time.
Jesus.
Oh, jeez.
How does he end up in these places where these things are happening with him all the time? I think that Kevin Holland, he's got that. He likes Batman, I know, and he wants to be Batman. I think he travels the streets looking for things.
So in this instance, he tells his stories really well as well. So that I'll read off how he explained the story.
There you go. The old school Batmobile, the Regal. I'm
driving the Regal, the old school kind of Batmobile. Everyone knows Batman is my favorite character. That's probably why I intervene in all of these things. I'm driving down the road, enjoying some good old 80s and 90s music, just cruising. It's fast but cruising, and I just look over to the right side, and this guy looked like he was trying to get on the freeway pretty quick. I looked back straight. I looked back to the right hand side of and he's sliding sideways. I'm like, gosh. I pull the Regal over. Glad I put the new brakes on there. Hopped out, ran over, jumped on top, ripped the door open, got the guy out. When I was young, I wanted to be a superhero, so you got to be careful what you ask for. You ask for certain things, and they start to happen, and you wonder why these things are happening. You've got to be careful what you ask for.
When are they? I think he's in Houston, right? He's in the Houston area.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, when are they gonna give this guy a key to the city, dog? He's just, I don't know what the mayor or whatever's thinking, man. Like, this guy should have gotten the key to the city already. This kid's a stud. I mean, I'm happy for him. At least he's doing good things, and that's awesome. I mean, I like the kid a lot. He's energetic. I wish he'd stop talking a little bit too much in the cage and start fighting more, but I like him, man. He's fun. He's a fun kid. He's got always a smile on his face.
How do you not like Kevin? He's great.
Yeah.
He's awesome, man.
So, that's awesome. Yeah. All right. Well, then we're going to wrap that up. All right. So that's our wrap up on the show. I'm glad we ended on a happy note.
Yeah.
Sometimes we end on negative notes, and I'm like,
negative
man, what are
Nancy.
we doing? We can't do that. Negative Nancy's over here sometimes, man. Today felt positive. Felt like we talked a lot about the rules. Got to try to maybe get it straight, and then we finished off with Kevin Holland, saving people's lives. I love
Kevin Holland ripping doors off.
Yep. All right, go to WeighInPodcast.com. Pick up some of our merch that's available for you guys. Got hoodies, coffee mugs, sweatshirts, Oh, there we go.
There.
Sweatshirts.
Sweatshirts.
Okay, we got long sleeve shirts, short sleeve shirts, and we got to get some tank tops, man. We got tank tops available on this thing or what? It's summertime, dog. We got the hindsight's 50/50. Yeah, baby. And the hashtag and still shirt is still available. So make sure you guys pick those up at WayneInPodcast.com. John, take us away, buddy.
Yeah, everyone out there, be a Kevin Holland. Do something good for somebody, and we will see ya.